Hi there. My name is Bethany Fisher, and I am the Education and Community Outreach Coordinator for City of Reading Public Works. And I am also one of the co-chairs for Berks County Earth Day. This presentation is being recorded in conjunction with the Earth Day Berks 2021 celebration being held from April 22nd through April 25th. Today I'm here with Bryan Cleaver, who is our division manager for the Conestoga Landfill with Republic Services. And he's going to teach us a little bit about how landfills are built and how they help protect our groundwater from contamination and kind of where does our trash go. Republic Services is the contracted hauler for the city of Reading for our solid waste disposal needs. So Bryan, I'm going to have you get started. And
great, thank you. Thank you, Bethany. I appreciate the opportunity. Again, my name is Bryan Cleaver. I'm the division manager here at Conestoga Landfill. I've been with Republic Services for about 10, 11 years. I've been in the industry 20 years. Local guy. I grew up in the area here, went to Penn State, and then from there, worked at a couple landfills locally and also on the consulting trail, kind of from Vermont to Virginia, so all up and down the East Coast. And my journey's brought me back here to Republic, back home. So really like being here, really like what we're doing on the site. So yeah, kind of getting into it. Conestoga Landfill here is approximately 426 acres, of which 277 acres is disposal area. So we have a large footprint, very easily accessible to the surrounding communities that we serve, and it's a pretty big site. We're permitted to accept 10,000 tons per day of municipal solid waste, residual waste, construction, and demolition waste. We typically don't see those numbers. We are permitted to run 5,210 tons per day per quarter. So we are allowed to go higher per day on total volume, but we need to be at that 5,210 on a quarterly average. We have about 12 years of life remaining here at Conestoga, the way we're permitted currently. So we have a good period to go, plenty of room here. Conestoga Landfill has a membrane bioreactor for our leachate treatment plant. It's a full service wastewater plant. It pretty much means that there's bugs and filters in that system that cleans the water up, meets our permit, our NIPD's permit for discharge then. And full service plant, state of the art, brand new 4 years ago. So it's a really good facility for us. And it's been a really good investment, a good way to help us protect the environment. We partnered with Energy Developments, which is a third-party contracting company who takes our landfill gas and uses it with end users. So we have a pipeline that runs from our facility, ties in with Lanchester Landfill, and goes 26 miles down into Leola. We partnered with Dark Container, who makes the red Solo cups, L&S Sweeteners, Case New Holland, Tyson Foods, and a couple other end users that takes our landfill gas and makes power out of it. So we move about 6,000 standard cubic feet per minute of landfill gas, which is a pretty sizable amount. And that's the gas that is then used to create energy for the community around here and for those businesses. There's also a gas to energy generator right across the street at their facility, which we'll go over on our next slide. And they've been a really good partner. They used to be Granger Energies and were recently bought out by Energy Developments. So that project's been going on since, I believe, 2008. We also got the Landfill Methane Outreach Program Project of the Year recognition that same year. So we were recognized as the best project in the country that year. So a lot of good stories there. Great project, something we're really proud of. So all that trash that comes in here we use it to make power. This is kind of an overview of our site. Right now, this is, I don't know if you can see my screen. You probably can't see the mouse, but on the top left corner, there's the original landfill. That's our cells 1 through 14. That was the original part of it. And then the expansion is what you see there, kind of the center of the picture. That's cells 15 through 26. So in that general area, we've been filling there since, I don't really remember, probably 2009, 10. I think that might be right. It's been a while since we opened up that side. There's You can see our wastewater treatment plant there is kind of right in the middle of the picture by that sedimentation basin that has the 90-degree angle on it. That's where you can see the tops of the tanks, and that's where the flares are located as well. Our partner EDL is across 176 from us there. So right across the highway, and then they have a pipeline that goes underneath the turnpike and down to the different end users. So it's a big property right along a lot of the interstates there, very easily accessible, and a good bit of room left. So that's all exciting stuff for us. When we talk about a landfill, it's kind of an easy way to look at it here. It's almost like a bowl. We have liners on the bottom of the bowl. It's designed to go to a low point. That low point collects what we call leachate or dirty water, pumps it out, and it goes to a wastewater treatment plant where we can then clean it up and meet our permit standards to have that water treated. We also have landfill gas collection wells. And the kind of way to look at that is if you have a cup and you take a straw, and you put a straw into a cup and suck on the straw, it pulls all the water out. It's kind of the same concept. We put perforated pipes into the landfill, kind of like straws, with pull a vacuum on it to then pull the landfill gas out of the landfill. And it's then piped to either our flares on site, because we own our own compliance. If our partner's not running for whatever reason, we can flare the gas off, and we have to show destruction efficiency. But hopefully they're running, and when they're running, they can take all the landfill gas and use it for beneficial use. So that's kind of how that works. There's blowers involved. We keep a set vacuum point so we can tune our gas wells and make sure that they're healthy and they're flowing gas the way they should be. And that's how the landfill gas section works. And then when the landfill's done, we put a cap over top of it. So we're in essence making a big trash bag where we have liner on the bottom and then liner on the top, making one big trash bag in essence. So let's kind of look at that process and how we do that. These are different layers of liner. So one of the biggest things of the landfill is protecting the environment. That's what we're all about. So when you're constructing a landfill cell, it's all permitted through the state. There's specific ways you have to do it and ways to join the different liners. But the overall objective is you have your groundwater table. You have 8 foot of material between the groundwater table and where you start. We use 6 inches of clay. And then we have 5 different layers of liner that help protect the groundwater table. So there's a secondary layer of liner. Then there's a geonet, which is kind of like a flow zone. GCL, which is a geosynthetic clay liner, which is, again, once it gets wet, it plugs up any kind of leak. Then you have a primary collection zone, and then fabric, and then 18 inches of cell stone that would allow the water to flow where you're looking to have it flow. So in essence, in theory, all you'd really need is that primary liner. But if that would ever leak, you still have that GCL. That would ever leak, you have your secondary containment, which we pump separately from the primary. And we'd be able to tell if there's any kind of issues if we see higher flows in that secondary zone. Then if that would ever have an issue, you have your 6 inches of clay, and then you have your 8 foot of groundwater, 8 foot of separation from groundwater on top of that as well. And at a landfill, you also have to do perimeter probes. So we check the groundwater flow around the perimeter of the landfill and sample it to make sure there's no issues there, and make sure we're hitting our permit requirements. Same with landfill gas. We have landfill gas probes all around the landfill as well to make sure there's nothing subsurfacely getting away or leaving the site. So it's highly regulated, as it should be. And I live local. My kids play around here, and everything's got to be right. So we try to go above and beyond and meet all of our requirements and be a good steward of the environment. That's one of the ways to do it. This here, I like to show this one because it's a 3D model of the landfill. So there's a lot of engineering that goes into any kind of landfill nowadays. It's a lot of thought and a lot of planning and a lot of design. So if I can get this thing to start, here we go. So you can kind of see this whole model is going to rotate, and we're able to actually show how we can look inside a landfill and plan the gas wells that go in. And I think we have 220 some gas wells on this site. So it's a lot of effort put into that. But when you kind of fly into the landfill here, it's going to show you some of our stormwater procedures that we use. We have letdown channels, we have sedimentation basins. But when you actually look inside the landfill, you can see the darker color on the bottom is that bottom floor where the liner would be. All these pipes that you see are all of our gas wells. We have horizontal gas wells, vertical gas wells. The red pipes are all perforated for gas collection. Then there's always some solid pipe on the top too. So that was the white pipes on the top. When you look at it, each well has a radius of influence of 200 feet. So we can look to make sure that they're overlapping. We have good coverage with the gas wells. So that's what that's showing. Down our flare station, it's a lot of water control. We always plan to have low spots where we can design the water so the landfill gas is warm, the ambient air is cold, and it could drop out some moisture. So we always design these low parts, the sumps, to drop out the water. The blue pieces there are the landfill gas blowers that provide the vacuum to suck on our straws or gas wells. And here's another sump that's underground. So when you take a look then, going over to EDL, we have a pipe that runs all the way across to them. At their building, they have a bunch of blowers in there too, and that's what we're going to take a look at here first. So these are all the blowers. They build up pressure to higher levels than what we have to send it down the pipeline. And again, on their side, it's a lot of moisture control. It's a lot of changing in temperatures. It's a lot of dropping the dew point down to make sure that it doesn't accumulate water in the pipeline as it goes to the end users. We can also model what the landfill is going to look like. So we can look at our incoming volumes and our density to see how much airspace and cubic yards we're using, and then plan that throughout the years, the life of the landfill, and design when we need to build our next cell, our next area that's going to be lined and ready for disposal. And it all gets CQA'd by third party and approved through DEP. So a lot of effort goes into that, and that's just a different way of showing it. But that's kind of some of the things we do out here at the landfill to protect the environment and be a good steward. Next slide here is actually, oh, it's playing again. There we go. So this is us actually putting in liner, and this is a time lapse. So there's crews that are specialty crews that travel the country to do this work. What we're seeing here is a rain flap, which is that plastic line that's already in there, and that's keeping the clean water away from the dirty water. And then when this cell is totally done and approved, we peel out that rain flap to allow the leachate to go where it should. So in this, you can see the whiter liner, that's the geosynthetic clay liner. Everything to the right of that is secondary liner with GeoNet. And then everything to the left that you're gonna see them installing is a primary liner. And on top of that primary liner is the fabric that protects it from the stone. And then we'd eventually have 18 inches of stone. Everything's CQA'd with trio welds and everything else. So you can see it's a long process. There's a lot of different ways to weld the liners together. We could do a whole class just on that. But it's very technical and very detail oriented, and there's a lot of people. It takes a lot of people to put together a landfill cell. On average, we can spend roughly $600,000 per acre to develop a cell out here at Conestoga. So it's a lot of time, money, and effort that goes into making sure we're doing everything right and correct, and as it should be. So that's a kind of a look at how they put that down. You can just imagine that over acres. So that's a quick little look. This is a drone shot of our wastewater treatment plant and landfill gas area. It's pretty neat. So the first two looks we have here are storage tanks, and those store the leachate. Or actually, no, that was the clean water tank, the denatured tank, and then the aerobic tank. The clean water tank is to the right of that. You can see the landfill from this point of view and the sedimentation basin. We have our enclosed flares there. That's where we own our own compliance, so we can use those flares as needed when our partners aren't running for whatever reason. Let's picture the office and the scale. Every truck that comes in comes across the scale. All the waste is approved from both DEP and our corporate office. And just a beautiful look at the surrounding area. It's a neat place to be, and pretty good look at that. This is kind of an idea of how many people goes into making a landfill cell. So this is a different look at that time lapse video. It's our maintenance building there that will eventually be coming down this year or next. And then you can see, past the building there, it takes operators, it takes technicians, it takes CQA personnel, it takes GPS surveyors, all kind of people are employed by the landfill, and you can see all the trucks that just for that small area there to put that in. But erosion sedimentation control, you can see the blankets there for seating and making sure that everything looks good and is tied in correctly, and a lot of work going into that in that one little picture. So that's kind of what it looks like when we're doing a larger area like that. And typically we do a tour. Obviously we can't right now, but we are available to do tours out here. If there's people that are interested, feel free to reach out to the landfill office down here, and we'd be more than happy to show you around and show you what we do.
Cool, thank you. I
Thank
have
you.
a couple questions for you, Brian.
Okay.
One, why do we flare off the landfill gas, or why do we use it to create energy? Why don't we just let it evaporate?
Yeah, it's a good question. So landfill gas has methane in it, and we want to make sure we capture, control the methane and odors. I mean, we want to be a good neighbor. So we put a lot of energy and effort into controlling any malodors or, watching for mud getting off our site or dust and all those kind of things. So our goal is to, take the waste that society's making and handle it in an environmentally responsible manner. I went to school for environmental engineering, and I never really thought I'd be at a landfill. But when you kind of look at it, I've been doing this 20 years now. It really goes into I always want to make a difference and do something I'd be proud of, and taking care of the environment was always top of my list. I never thought it would be a landfill per se, but the more time you spend here, that's really what we're doing. We're really trying to take care of society's trash and do it in a responsible manner.
Thank you. What is the biggest difference, do you think, between the way we construct landfills now versus how they were constructed maybe 100 years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in my consulting career, I got to see a lot of different ways landfills were managed. So back in the day, they almost used to just throw them in a hole near the river and hope for the best. And through the years, that's what you see as being our Superfund sites now, where it's I've been to places where the water's running red and it's not very good, and you have a lot of issues, from things that happened back in the day. Um, what we're doing nowadays is, with all the different types of liner and the longer, it's more, it's better for the environment that we're now taking care of it. Or, if you're lucky enough to go on vacation down to the Caribbean, sometimes we'll see things that kind of shock you. Being in this industry, I actually met my wife at a landfill of all places, and whenever we go traveling, we always see, what people are doing, and even some of those countries down there, they're just still just putting it in a hole or pushing it out into the ocean and making an island out of it. It's a lot different than, it's almost what happened here back in the day. But now with the modern landfills, it's handled appropriately.
Um, when you said that the Conestoga landfill at our current rate of disposal and without any expansions, we probably have around 12 years left. When the landfill does close, what is the plan for it?
Yeah, it's a good question. So a lot of times when landfills close, well, it's all put out before the landfill even starts, where we have to know what our finished grades are, what the slopes are, what it's going to look like. And a lot of landfills, it's not very conducive to buildings because there's a possibility for settlement. But you'll see a lot of them have baseball fields and soccer fields and walking trails and things of that nature, where it should be something that the community can use eventually when everything is slowed down environmentally. We'll have landfill gas. It's a 30-year bell curve, so not a whole lot at year 0 or 30, but at 15 years you're peaking out. So there's money put aside bonding wise for the landfill after it closes, and that'll help us get to post closure, they call it. And from there you just work on your plan that's approved.
Oh, thank you. Um, you mentioned that you went to school for environmental engineering, and you're just one of the engineers and just one of the people on site. But there's all kinds of different roles that people can do with Conestoga and for working at any landfill.
Yeah.
What are some of the skills that people would need to have if they decided that they wanted to come and work up the landfill?
Yeah, so landfill has all kind of different trades. You're right. So we have, engineers, general managers, hydrogeo specialty, civil engineers, pretty much you name it on that kind of discipline. But most importantly, our frontline guys are all heavy equipment operators, surveyors, construction foremen. We have laborers on site. We have mechanics for yellow iron mechanics. We have wastewater treatment plant operators, landfill gas specialty groups. It takes a lot of skills and a lot of trades, and there's a lot of places that kind of lead into that. There's a lot of support that goes into a landfill. So we're trying to work with I think it's BCTC is up in that area. They have a program for heavy equipment operators. So we're trying to work with them to bring people on as they start their career. We have, like I said, labor positions where our goal is to bring the laborers in, get them used to our safety and our culture, and then bring them into an operator role eventually too. So we're really trying to make a career paths for local individuals that are looking to get into a stable, stable company, a stable job. You know, no matter what you think of it, you know, landfills they're going to be here for a while. You know, and yeah, it's a job that I take pride in. I think a lot of our guys do too on the environmental aspects and the safety aspects. And you know, it's a safe job. You know.
Yeah, that's great. What is the favorite part of your job?
So the favorite part of my job is my office is, you know, 400 acres. Yeah, I get to deal with the engineering, with the future planning, looking at what was done in the past, dealing with our frontline employees, which are the most important people. Our biggest asset is our people and our facilities. So you know, I get to ride in a buggy and go, you know, check out the area around the site, or I can sit in an office and, you know, go through all the engineering designs. I like that it's different every day. And I like that I've been doing it 20 years and it still keeps you humble, because the second you think you have it figured out, something weird could always happen. So I really enjoy the, yeah, how it's still an evolving field. It's not totally figured out yet. And I really enjoy, you know, just the, have the flexibility, you know, to go, you know, maybe today focus on the landfill gas part or the wastewater treatment plant part, or, you know, the perimeter probes. It's neat to be able to have that versatility and do something different every day.
Yeah. What is the least favorite part of your job, or the thing that you wish that the public knew and would do to help you guys out?
Yeah, I think the thing I wish the public knew is that we're here trying to do the best we can. You know, you always hear, "Hey, I might have smelled something 2 weeks ago." You know, if that's the case, we have 24-hour call numbers. You know, let us know. We want to investigate. We want to be the best partner we can be. We want to be the best ran landfill around right here. That's our goal. That's the biggest thing. It's never going to be a lack of want to or a lack of effort. But you know, that's I think the biggest thing for me is that we really do care.
That's awesome. And then any last thoughts? Anything that you wish that the public would do better?
Not necessarily the public do better, but I mean, I think the biggest thing is, you know, the recycling market. You know, a lot of republics, we have a lot of school age programs where you can sign online for free recycling advice. It's a lot of just cleaning stuff out. You know, when everything gets recycled and it might be dirty or contaminated, a lot of that comes to the landfill as waste. You know, I'm the guy. If you ever see me get a plastic bag at a grocery store, come up and smack me, because you see plastic bags flying all over on those windy days out here. It drives me nuts, you know. And you know, I think the biggest thing is just you know, being a good steward for the environment. And recycling is a good thing, and you know, but it only works when we work together and everything's clean and organized. That's really the biggest takeaway, I think. You know, we're here to do a job. It's not the most glamorous job a lot of days, but you know, it is a necessity in our society.
Yeah,
So you know, I think the biggest thing is if everybody can get on board with the recycling and cleaning things out, and there's all kind of resources on our website that people can use to learn more about that.
awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian. And I'm going to end our recording. And we thank everybody for tuning in today. And if you have any questions, I will have a contact card at the end of the video, and feel free to contact either one of us. And everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you.